What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video. So in this video, I want to talk about 5 things narcissists say once you confront them and how you should respond. Now, one thing we all know that narcissists are good for, and that is gaslighting. And a lot of times they use gaslighting when you have confront them about something, which puts them on the spot, and it kind of, requires them to give an explanation to their behavior or to something that you don't quite understand. But see, narcissists, they don't know how to respond to a mature adult conversation. Just a simple question can set them off and make them go into a full rage episode. I've seen this happen time and time again with narcissists, whether it was the ex or the one who I worked with. See, narcissism is just a word for an evil spirit. And for a long time, I didn't know what narcissism was. But that spirit had so much power and control over me for a long time, for 20 years. But once I, finally recognized what it was he was doing and everything, I finally started to feel free and felt the burden lifted off my shoulder, as to why was I punishing myself so much and constantly in deep thought about the things that, the picture that he tried to paint of me and show that picture to me to try to make me believe that I was the problem. Because of course that's what narcissists do. They want you to think that you're the problem. That's all a part of the gaslighting. But every time you confront a narcissist, brace yourself for some very harsh responses. And some of those responses are going to be, well, first of all, they're going to tell you that you're crazy, you're making this all up, it's all in your head. And my ex, he used to do this thing when I would question him about something that he done. It didn't sit well with me, so it was bothering me. And another thing you do a lot of times when you question an art, you kind of brace yourself. You kind of have to boost yourself up to even question him about something. Because you know what the response is going to be already. And you know that it's not going to make you feel good. You know it's not going to turn out good. But you go ahead and do it anyway because it's constantly on your mind. Not only what they did, but how it made you feel. And when I would question him about something that he'd done, he would say stuff like, I don't want to argue. I don't want to argue. I don't want to argue. Or, and he would, when he do that, it would make me feel like, okay. And it gave me that feeling like, maybe I shouldn't have asked. See, I shouldn't have asked. Because I didn't like how that made me feel by him constantly repeating himself, like, because it kind of like insinuates that all I wanted to do is argue. And I didn't want to argue. Of course, I didn't know what he was doing then. I never knew what was going on with me. But again, now that I know, now that there's clarity on why they do this, it's easy to, it's easier to recognize, it's easier to kind of determine how you're going to answer them. But at the same time, once you know that the narcissist is a narcissist, you don't even really have to respond because that's what they live for. They live for your response. They live for you to give them a reaction. And that is what gave him fuel all those years, 20-something years of narcissism abuse. He was just powered up on the fact of knowing how I'm going to respond. Same thing with the narc who I work with. Same thing. Just 2 different people, 2 different atmospheres with the same type of abuse and manipulation. And that's what they do. They respond to you to make it seem like that you're the problem. They put the mirror on you and they force you to see the bad person as a reflection. And the reason why you're constantly confused, in a state of confusion that they try to create in your mind, is because you know that you're not the problem. The whole while you knew that you weren't the problem. That's why it didn't sit well with you. That's why you could never really, just agree with the fact that, well, maybe I do have the problem. Because it's not you, it's the narcissist. It always was the narcissist. But those are some of the things that they say in response to being confronted. So just brace yourself for the responses, or just don't give them any feedback. Because the more you give them, the more they're going to take, and they're going to keep pulling at you until you just completely go off. And that's what they live for. It gives them their kicks. Some of the other things that they would say is, of course, they will completely deny that they behave a certain way. It's all in your head. You take things the wrong way. Why do you have to be so sensitive all the time? Or, boy, it's just always something with you. He used to say that. And one thing that really, really used to get to me is when he would do something that would affect the kids. Like when we weren't together, but of course we still had to come up, with the schedule of him getting the kids and everything. And we already had it. It was already working out well. But once he got with that new supply, it would always affect the scheduling, which, if the narc would do something, the narc's behavior affects the children. Of course, it's going to hurt the parent. So it's like a lot of times when he would break those promises, you could imagine how that would make a child feel. And of course, it would bother the parent, and that bothered me a lot. Like you pick your new supply over your own children, and those children are left with me to hurt. And of course, it hurts me to see my kids upset. And when he would break these promises of getting them over the weekend sometime, it would always be because plans that he made with new supply or plans that he's making probably to get a hold of new supply. And every time I would question it, his response would be, you really need to find you somebody. He would always attack my personal life, which had nothing to do with it. Because I'm completely content with the fact that I'm single. I'm happily single. And the last thing that's on my mind is getting into a new relationship. On top of that, whether I'm getting acquainted with someone, seeing somebody, dating or whatever, it's none of his business. It was none of his business, and it had nothing to do with the argument, which wasn't even an argument to begin with. I just wanted clarity on why was he constantly doing the same thing over and over again. Like, this has to change because you are affecting the kids. It's not about me, but it's like he was doing it because he knew he would get this reaction out of me. Like, narcissists are so cruel, they will hurt the children and get to you. But he would always make it seem like I'm obsessing over the fact that he is in a new relationship, which I couldn't care less. I did not care at all about what was going on with his life. If anything, I was just hating him more and more for the fact that I was seeing him become this more cruel and heartless person. And on top of that, it was hurting the kids when he didn't get them. And then when he would get them, another thing that he would do is to show off and pretend. Of course, they got to put on a show in front of people. He would always get them with someone else around or with the new supply because he always had different women. Every time you look around, he's with a different woman. No, he wasn't in a relationship because he called himself sane, when I would be like, dang, what happened to the last one? And I would take it back like, I ain't mean nothing extra about that, because the first thing I know he would say is, why are you in my business? I'm not in your business, but my children are my business, and I have a right to know who's around them, period. But a narcissist will never look at it like that. They just look at it like, well, you can trust me to have my kids around anybody. I'm not going to put them in harm's way. You really need to stop being so obsessive over who I'm with. You need to get a life, or you need to get a man. He would love to throw it up in my face. And the reason why it was bothering me is because he was making me feel like, trying to force me, in other words, to feel something that I didn't feel. It's like they want you to always feel like you took something the wrong way when they're the ones taking it the wrong way. Because, I insulted you. It injured him to know that this behavior is unacceptable and it's not normal. And you really need to settle down with one person. And I just feel that way about anybody. And if you're not, you shouldn't be so quick to bring your children around these different people. I do have the right to know who was around my kids at the time. Well, they're grown now, but and that's just something that narcissists do to respond to you when you are right. Because to them, they can't do no wrong. And when they respond to you for checking them and putting them in their place, they insult you. They never give you a valid response. They never, just try to see eye to eye with things. They don't know how to be an adult. They just know how to insult you because you did something you had no business doing, and that's questioning them. Because they feel entitled to behave as bad as they want to, and they expect you to just accept it, and that's that. Because they feel like, I've been getting away with it for so long, they're just that arrogant to feel like, why can't I just do what I want to do and you mind your business? But when you're minding your business, it's when they come and bother you because they're so bored at the fact that you are not, you're not coming to them. You're not needing them anymore. So they start to pick with you just to get a response. He had that bad doing that type of stuff. Just random harassment. And then at the moment that I respond, at the time I didn't know he was a narc, of course, my response would be frustrating responses. I would be so frustrated, like, why are you even talking to me? Why are you bothering me? And it's like he would get his kicks off that. He loved to see me in that light to where I'm just completely just going off on him. And then that's when he would tell me that I have a problem or I take things the wrong way or you really need to lighten up. See, that's why you don't have a man now. I don't have a man by choice because I'm chilling. I'm good. I'm content with myself. I'm at peace. I work and I come home and take care of my kids. And then I have to deal with you. You're the only dark cloud in my life. You're the only dark cloud in my sky. You're the only dark cloud that lingers over me. And it's like you have to brace yourself to deal with a narcissist during a conversation because you never know what's going to come out of their mouths and how they're going to try to brainwash you and just play with your mind and have you in deep thought, wondering, are you the problem? But let me see a few more responses that the narcissists give when you confront them. It's just pretty much the same thing. It just always comes back to you. Another thing that they do, it's just like give you the silent treatment. They go stonewall on you. And that's just letting you know that you don't matter. And they know by doing that, it's going to make you feel away. It's not like hurting your feelings because, it doesn't hurt your feelings in the way they want it to. But it does make you feel some type of way, like, who wants to be ignored? And they ignore you as a punishment. And then you're wondering, why am I being punished? Because I asked a simple question. And then they start to do the word salad thing and just go off into different things that's not even, they just go clean off the subject, talking about a whole lot of nothing that doesn't have anything to do with what you asked them about. So those are just some of the responses that you can look out for from a narcissist when you confront them. Because trust me, it's going to be the same old thing. They're going to take you in circles until you are dizzy, just trying to manipulate you and make you think that you're the one with the problem. It's all in your head. What you talking about? I didn't even do nothing. See, you always do this. I don't want to argue. I don't want to argue. You really need to get a grip. You really need to find somebody because you just be worried too much about who I mess with. It's not your business who I mess with. You need somebody. Where you come up with that with? And he even said something to me one time about, so where did you come up with that with those little voices in your head? You really need to go get some help. I used to be like, I'm the one that need to get help. And you can't even stay on the subject. It's like sometimes the discernment, your gut is deep down in you that haven't really fully awakened you. It kind of give hints. It's been giving hints the whole while. It's just like you just couldn't really, get the fullness of it. But it gives you hints. Like your gut tells you some things about that narc. Your gut instinct have told you things a long time ago about the narcissist. It just took a while. Like it just had to come to a breaking point before you fully understand what was happening. And there's nothing like knowing that the whole while it wasn't even you. It wasn't you. And that strength, after you realize that and going forward, is what kills the narcissist. Because from that moment on, you know how to deal with them. And it's like from now on, if he come at me, which it'll never end, but very, very seldom, I have to speak to him about anything, which I really don't. But if I cross paths with him or whatever, and he say things to me, like the very last time I seen him, I think it was back in February. And I went to his house to get something for my son. Because my son was at work and he was like, can you go by my dad's house to pick something up? So I went by there. And he said, I said, could you sit it out on the porch? He didn't sit it on the porch. He wanted to pretend like that he didn't get the message. And right after that is when I blocked him. Because I'm like, I'm not dealing with this with you no more. It's time to just cut you off completely. We don't even have to talk. So when I got the package and I got back in my car, it's like he probably was peeking outside. He knew that I was coming up to the porch for the package. So he opened the door. He gave it to me. I got the package. And he was like, oh, hello to you too. Why you always so, why are you always so mad? You're just always in a bad mood. And I just ignored him and kept going. I got in the car. And I wasn't giving him a reaction to the fact that I know he was luring me in to actually have to ring the doorbell to get the package when he could have left it on the porch. like we had agreed to, just moments before I made it to his house. I didn't give him a reaction, but that was him trying to get a reaction out of me by saying those things that weren't even accurate. I just got the package and walked to my car, and it's bothering you that I'm not giving you no attention, which is why you had to say those things to me. And as I got in my car, he was getting in his car, and he was like, put your window down. I put the window down, and I said, what? And he said, smile sometimes. Like, who are you? You never even said this to me before. You never spoke to me in that way before. Like, you are always a different person. And I said, who you pretending to be today? Because you don't even talk like that. And I said, it doesn't matter that I smile. You know, what does it matter to you that I smile? If I smile or not, you still gonna be miserable. And he couldn't say nothing. And he had said something else to me when he texted me right before I blocked him that day. He texted me about something. And I said, I wouldn't expect you to feel that way because of something, about something he was supposed to have been taken care of. Something he was supposed to have done. And I said, but I don't expect you to do that because you don't care. Something happened, but I said, I expect you not to do it because you don't care about your own personal things. You don't take care of nothing you have. You don't value the things that you own. So I don't expect you. I think it was what he gave me for my son. Like he had let somebody, you know, they damaged it while it was at his house and stuff. And I was like, but I don't expect for you. You know, it's just common courtesy to do things, to put something away if you're holding it for someone so that it won't get damaged. But when you don't care about anything, you don't care what happens to it, especially if it's not yours. And I was like, did it arrive that way? And it's like, I don't know. And then he just wouldn't say anything else. And I said, but I wouldn't expect for you to really care about anything that's for someone else. You don't even care about the things that belongs to you. That's what I said. That was like the last thing I said to him, and then I blocked him. This was back in February. We don't need to communicate. But that just goes to show that narcissists, they don't change. They don't change. He came into my life in 1995. And it took to 2000, what? To the earlier this year or late last year for me to really recognize that he was also a narcissist. See, sometimes it just take a long time before you realize a person's true character. And I was speaking about this in my videos for 2 years now. And it dawned on me later on down the line that, you know, your kid's dad was a narcissist. Like, and when that came to me, I'm like, oh yeah, I got to talk about this. Because so many people will leave comments under my videos who experience narcissism from their relationships. And I was like, dang, how I'll be able to help somebody? And a whole while I could have been, but I didn't know until it finally dawned on me that he was also a narcissist. Like, boy, I tell you, God, work on my mysterious ways, because once he showed me that, I'm like, oh yeah, it's on now. Now I can really, you know, use that in my videos. You know, I understand too. Now I understand. Now I can relate to what people are talking about. Because y'all know, at first I was just talking about the narc who I work with. And I still talk about her, because I still work with her. And there's always a story to tell every day. But, yeah, that concludes this video. If y'all have any comments, leave them down below. I live in Louisiana. Y'all know that we're bracing ourselves for 2 storms, Marco and Laura. But I just hope that, you know, we're not impacted by the storm. And in the meantime, while I'm home, we'll probably be out of work the rest of the week. I'll still be doing these videos. I'll still be doing my videos. And I just pray that the power don't go out. If it does, I'll still be doing my videos, because I do have my my phone charger. So I'll just go and record in the car. So I will keep it coming. But anyway, again, thank y'all for watching. And I'll talk to you soon.